Greetings, I'm Dr. Sean Reed, author of the Dating Toolbox, available on Amazon.com. So guys, if you like what you hear, what you see today, please hit that like and subscribe button. Okay, so today I want to talk about sexual performance enhancing drugs, all right? The goal of my system is to raise a woman's interest level. I was a member of the seduction community many years ago. In the seduction community, their goal was to have sex with women. And of course, that goal brought many problems and the seduction community was canceled. Having said that, though, they were pretty darn good at meeting, seducing women. My goal is very different. My goal is one thing and really one thing only, and that is to continuously raise a woman's interest level, to get a woman to fall in love and stay in love with you. However, when you do that, women will want to have sex with you. So when I was young, very young, and I had another video about how I was kind of a wild man when I was young, I met and had sex with many women, and I didn't want to get married. I didn't want to settle down. I just wanted to sleep with as many women as possible. And I did. And then I talk about how later in life I quit drinking and I became a stable, nice guy. And then I had trouble with women. But going back to that period where I was very young in my early 20s and kind of a wild man, I was having sex with many women, very often about one new woman a month, right? But that adds up. That's 12 women a year. So I was having sex with quite a bit of women. And then as mentioned, I went through major changes in my life. At age 27, I quit drinking. And by my early 30s, by my mid 30s, I'd become this sober, nice guy. And I was no longer successful with women. And that's what kind of started the development of my system. And the goal of my system is not to have sex. That is not the primary goal. But the result of my system is when you try and raise a woman's interest level, you will have the best sex of your life. And the most sex I ever had was when I was pursuing that one high quality woman. But in order to find that one very high quality woman, I would have to date many women. So I talked about this in my other videos quite a bit. One of the things I advocate is to develop a 3-woman rotation of high quality women. And again, your purpose with those women is to constantly raise their interest level. When that happens, you're going to have, in my case, and yours also, the most and the best sex of your life. So I had 3 women in my rotation, all competing, all wanting to get married, and they were giving me the best sex I ever had. The best sex in a relationship generally comes after, this is my opinion, after the first month mark. By month 2, you're getting comfortable with each other. You know what each other like. You know how to please each other. So I was having the best sex of my life, and I literally was having sex with each of these women 3-4 times a week. So I was having sex more than 10 times a week. And, in order to do that, by then I was in my early to mid 40s. And at that time is when I started using sexual performance enhancing drugs. So today I'm going to talk about sexual performance enhancing drugs, as mentioned. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to say is if you don't need this stuff, don't take it. Okay, and that's very easy to say to a 25-year-old man whose hormones are still raging and has no problem sexually, and that should be the case until you get much older. Your testosterone peaks at age 27, and then you lose like 1 or 2% of testosterone a year over time. And that is the normal production and decline in production that we typically see in men. And so what that means is that your testosterone is still pretty darn good well throughout your 30s and even into your early to mid 40s. That has been the case, I think, historically and normally. What we are seeing now is, and again, there's no one concrete, the scientific literature isn't conclusive over what's happening, but we're seeing declines in testosterone in men happening at a much younger age. So I don't want to sit here and I don't want to shame guys, under the age of 40 for having to use sexual performance enhancing drugs. But if you need them, then use them. And we're going to talk about them in a moment. But if someone's having problems in the bedroom, the first thing I will do is I will take a look at their testosterone production. So the first thing, if you're 40 years old and you're having erectile issues in the bedroom, the first thing I'm going to ask you is, well, have you had your testosterone measured? And so in my case, I had no problems. And then about the age of 48, I started to have some problems. And sure enough, my testosterone levels had dropped. So the first thing, if you're having problems in the bedroom, the first thing we're going to look at are your testosterone levels. Are they normal? Are they good? Now, the normal range is 300 to 1100. And when I was 48, I started to have some issues, and I got my testosterone measured, and my testosterone was 281. Now, that's only a little bit below the bottom of the range, but what I've learned and what has been my experience, I've actually worked with quite a few men over the years with this, is that even if you're within normal range, if you're in the low 300s, that is less than optimal. You don't really want to be, even if you're in the low normal range, you don't want to be in the low normal range. You want to be in high normal range, okay? And that is where TRT comes into play. Testosterone replacement therapy, we've all heard all about it. The big point of confusion over TRT is a lot of guys think that it's steroids. That's really not the correct way to think about it, okay? As a competitive bodybuilder, as a competitive combat athlete, yes, steroids are obviously involved in athletics. We all know that. Bodybuilding, the amount of steroids they're doing is literally insane. That's very different from TRT. TRT is a low dosage of steroid, of testosterone, designed to get you into the normal ranges. And I generally recommend to get in the high normal range. So the range for most men is 300 to 1100. My advice is to get yourself in around the 900 range. So if you're having problems in the bedroom, the first thing to do is to look at your testosterone production. And I will also say that not all doctors are still, a lot of doctors are still lacking in knowledge in this area. You can go to a TRT clinic, but you're going to pay an arm and a leg. My recommendation is to see a doctor who is knowledgeable about this area. So for example, I see Dr. Larry Lipschultz. He's a urologist. He's also world famous for TRT. He has like 150 publications, and someone like that is more focused. Of course, they're going to charge money. Doctors make lots of money, but it's not going to be all about money the way it is at a TRT clinic. So find a knowledgeable doctor. And then you also need to understand that there are a number of things in play besides just your total testosterone level, okay? Really, that is not the bottom line. The bottom line is your free testosterone. That is the testosterone left over after your body goes through some processes that your body uses. So, for example, you can have something called high SHBG, steroid hormone binding globule. And what SHBG does is it binds with your testosterone and it lowers your free testosterone. So again, it's not, just a simple measure. Generally, yes, we get your testosterone in the 900 range. 9 out of 10 times, your erectile issues are going to be fixed, right? But again, it's a little more complex than that. We need to look at your free test, your SHBG. We also want to keep an eye on other things like hematocrit. When you do TRT, it elevates your hematocrit, which can thicken your blood, and that can lead to stroke. So you need to have your hematocrit monitored. You also need to have your estrogen monitored. Ironically, when your body processes testosterone, the end result is estrogen. So you need to get lab work every 6 months to do testosterone replacement therapy, and to do it safely, you need to have lab work, you need to be monitored, and you need to do it correctly. Having said that, doing TRT correctly will greatly enhance the quality of your life, and it will actually make you healthier. Okay, so, and going along with doing TRT is also means going to the gym, eating correctly, doing your weight training, doing your cardio. Do all these things together, and you will be more more vigorous, healthier, and have a better overall life. And again, doing TRT very often fixes any erectile dysfunction issues. But let's say we have some that are remaining, we're going to get into things called PED5 inhibitors. Ironically, originally these were blood pressure drugs, and they found when they were doing the tests on subjects, they would get this erection that wouldn't go away. So from that, we had drugs like PED5 inhibitors like Cialis, Levitra, and Viagra. I prefer Cialis. Okay, if you're running a 3-woman dating rotation, having sex 10 times a week, you may not need a PED5 inhibitor, but you're sure as heck going to want it. Okay, so we get into things like Cialis, Levitra, and Viagra. I prefer Cialis. Viagra causes my face to turn red, and it only lasts for 4 hours. Cialis lasts for 32 hours. So, like in my case, if you're managing and you should be doing this also, if you're dating multiple women, you're managing a 3-woman rotation, you basically want to be ready to go at all times. So what you do with Cialis is you take a much reduced dose every day. It lasts for 32 hours. So you take a small amount every day and you are good to go 24/7. You're good. Your erectile function should be good all the time. Okay. And TRT and PED5 inhibitors basically should work for any man well into his 50s until really, in my case, this combination worked fantastic until I was 60. According to my wife, it still works, but once I hit 60, I wanted a little extra in terms of sexual performance. You know, a lot of people talk about how, they get married and their sex life dies. My sex life is still very good with my wife. It's not as frequent, but when we have a date night, we do everything. I don't want to get vulgar in my videos, but oral sex, she does all the things she used to do with me in our first year of marriage. Again, guys, that's the product of managing interest level. When you keep a woman in love, the sex is going to be good. So there's something, if you are 60 or over, and again, guys may need this when they're younger, but my general rule is you don't want to mess with this stuff until you're 60. It's something called Trimix. Okay, this is a crazy drug, and I know when I first heard of it, I thought that's insane. But Trimix is a performance-enhancing drug. Get ready for it. You inject it straight into your penis. I know that sounds crazy, and I thought it was nuts until I tried it. But you only use a very tiny needle, and it's freaking amazing. My wife says I don't need it, but I want it. She hates the stuff because I can literally go for 2.5 hours when I take Trimix. That stuff. Man, if you were dead, it would work, right? It would give a dead man a hard-on. It gives you a massive erection. My wife complains because the amount of sex I have when I take that is painful for her. And again, that's an issue you have to work out with your significant other. But Trimix sort of is the be-all and end-all of sexual performance-enhancing drugs. Okay, so I've given a very cursory cover to everything, guys. If you have any more questions, please feel free to answer them. Basically, if you have an erectile issue, there's an answer for you, whether it be testosterone therapy, whether it be a PED5 inhibitor, or even the bottom line of Trimix, there's a solution out there. There's no reason for a man to have in today's modern society, with today's technology and with today's medication, there's no reason for a man to have any kind of erectile dysfunction. So again, you guys, if you like what you saw and you heard today, please hit that like and subscribe button. If you want to get more out of my system, and remember, my system is about raising a woman's interest level, but it's going to give you the best sex of your life. I don't talk about sex a lot because I don't need to. If a woman loves you, she's going to have great sex with you. She's going to be very giving. She's going to be loving, and that means doing all the naughty things that a woman is capable of doing. So you guys, if you want to learn about that system, if you want to raise a woman's interest level, please check out my book. It's available on Amazon.com. There's a link down below. If you have any questions, Any comments? I, with all due modesty, am a bit of a walking encyclopedia on this topic. I could go on all day. We're at 15 minutes, so I don't want this video to run much longer. But any questions you guys have, please ask me. And happy dating and happy sex life.